The night smelled like engine oil and rye fields. Our Po-2 biplane trembled in the crosswind, canvas skin humming as if the airplane itself were whispering a prayer. I eased the throttle back and let the prop settle to a wooden murmur. Down there, beyond the black ribbon of the river, a German battery traced blind claws across the sky. They were hunting ghosts. We were two women in a plywood kite. Names Nadya, navigator. My pilot, Katya, flies like the wind owes her money. We'd flown 3 sorties already, hands numb, cheeks salted white by the slipstream. Fuel, bombs, a map full of grease pencil arrows. This was our world. The men at their heavies called us the night witches. They said our glide sounded like a broom. I didn't mind the insult. Witches live in the dark. So did we. We cut the engine, and the world fell into a sacred silence. No vibration, no roar, just air, like cold silk, sliding past the wings. The ground rose to meet us, and the battery's trucks showed as soft squares of deeper black. I counted in my head. 1 and 2, and drop. Katya tapped my wrist twice. That was our language when words froze in our throats. I pulled the lever. The bomb slipped. A perfect, quiet goodbye. Engines on. The prop coughed once and caught. The Germans woke in a frenzy. Green tracers stitched the wheat. A searchlight swung up and snagged us in its fist. Katya kicked rudder, and we fell sideways, a paper airplane dodging God. The beam slid off, and the night swallowed us whole again. I laughed, because fear sometimes runs out of road, and laughter is what's left. People ask how a canvas biplane could scare an army with steel teeth. Truth? It wasn't the weight of our bombs. It was the weight of not knowing. We changed courses like liars, arrived when mathematics said no, and made darkness feel disloyal. Our Po-2s could float lower than pride, land on dirt tracks that apologized for being roads, and sip fuel like misers. Speed? A rumor? Survivability? Faith and luck. We had started before sunset, chalk dusted in the briefing tent, tracing the lines. Rail junction, ammo dump, battery position. The map smelled of damp canvas and cigarette smoke. "Harass, don't hero," our squadron leader said. "Make them fear the hours between midnight and dawn." We nodded. We were 19 to 23, daughters of teachers and machinists. War taught us the rest. Second run. We came in from the river again, but lower. So low the mist on the water wrote its initials on our landing gear. Engine off. The wind became a choir in our wires. I could hear Katya breathing through her scarf, see frost biting the edges of my goggles. The trucks below looked tired, like men who'd used up their tomorrows. I pressed the release. A bloom of orange licked the dark, then grew teeth. Flak answered, angry, imprecise, afraid. We broke for the tree line and skimmed its comb. Twigs slapped the wing struts. Somewhere behind, a gun crew learned that doctrine can't shoot at silence. We climbed on the far side and stitched ourselves back into the sky. "One more?" Katya asked. I checked fuel and my gut. Both said yes. On the climb, I thought about the things we carried. A school ribbon in Katya's pocket, a chipped enamel cup I refused to leave, a letter from my brother with mud for punctuation. We carried those as carefully as fuses. No armor, no radio worth trusting. Just paper maps, moon math, and the kind of friendship that argues with death and wins most nights. Third pass, we tried mischief. We dropped a clutch of tiny bombs first, toys with loud voices. The battery swung its lights toward the decoy blasts, and we slid sideways through the blind spot, coughing one last pair onto the ammo crates. The night opened like a wound. Fire climbed a ladder of smoke. The wind smelled of cordite and new fear. Someone down there ran in a small, hopeless circle. I looked away. Mercy has poor eyesight at altitude. Now every gun spoke. We tucked the nose and threaded a path between tracer beads the way a needle finds a hem. A round snapped past my ear, and the universe shrank to Katya's hands and my breath. "Hold," she said, voice flat as steel. The trees rose again, and we surfed their tops, a leaf on a black river. Behind us, something big remembered how to explode. The shock slapped our tail, and the Po-2 wagged like a scolded dog, but held. We crossed the lines as the east bruised from purple to iron. Dawn is honest. It shows everything, including the shaking in your knees. We dropped into a field that once grew rye and now grew ruts. Ground crew ran with chocks. Our mechanic kissed the cowling and called us liars for coming back so whole. In the debrief hut, someone poured tea that tasted like smoke and victory. I drew 3 crosses on the map. The battery would not wake on time. Was it enough to turn a war? Alone? No. Together, night after night, runway after runway, we taught an army to fear sleep. That was our arithmetic. We were called witches. If a lie be fee